Hello everyone, welcome back to Limbus Company, and today we're going to be playing the Nocturnal Night Sweeping. And honestly, I'm pretty excited for it. I haven't really played it yet because I had to go to a school event. A school
돈은
play,
없는데
but like,
탄약이 또 다
here right
떨어졌다고요?
now, let's get to it. And over here we can see the new stuff. Let's see what it is. It's my first time seeing this and it already looks cool. I like the music. Also, Dante ore farming. And let's check out the rewards. See what it is. Pretty much the same setup, but like, I like to see new stuff like this. Purple, the heartbreaking too. Anyways, let's get a move on and see what these Kimlings are like. Happy New Year! Dante, any idea where that leftover cake from yesterday went? No idea. I mean, why would I know? I can't even eat. Darn. Did Don Cleo already get her paws on him? Rodia rubbed her tired eyes, muttered something about how we should have partied in her room instead, and stumbled into the back door. The New Year's came swiftly to the inhabitants of the bus after the various incidents at the Limbus Company extraction. Or ego place, whatever. Listeners all came from different backgrounds and parts of the city, but annual celebration for New Year's seemed to be a thread that connected their cultures together. They began floating the idea of a New Year's party and... Excellent! Then permit me in honor of hosting this banquet. With her usual overdramatic boast, coupled with the familiar twinkle in her eyes, Don Quixote declared that it would indeed be a New Year's party, and thus it was decided. Again? After all the hell we went through with the back door and whatnot for the out-of-season Christmas celebration? Yet I may insist, for 'twas but an effort to decorate the bus. The intent? Quite divorced from the act of celebration. Don Quixote glanced at Sinclair, sheepishly scratching the back of her head. Huh? Oh, don't worry about me, really. Well, 'tis true that mine actions have brought thee quite the distress. Unintentionally, I might add, thus I ask thee, wouldst thou not agree that a communal event to mark the occasion might freshen both our spirits and bodies? I can't even begin to imagine her amnesiac self even taking a moment to give a damn about how Sinclair might take it, but I guess the memory came intact. You know, it's our first New Year's together. It sure is an occasion for a celebration, huh? Gotta hear that beat bell go ding to really mark the transition into a new year, right? It seems that we will be welcoming the first light of the new year in company of one another. This is indeed a cause for celebration. A bowl of noodles before last night's year fades. Classic. Such bubbling enthusiasm from ye warmth mine own heart. Forsooth, the grandiosity of this banquet shall be one for the books. Fireworks will be most brilliant. Enough delicacies to... Aron, when is our next stop? Mephi will be running non-stop for 3 days at least. Only dum-dums stop on the fast road. So she says. Virgilius muttered with his usual sardonic edge, one fist under his chin. Fee! For New Year's celebration, the banquet shall be prepared. Ere the promised hour. Don Quixote's idea of a grand banquet depressingly fizzled into nothingness, but Rodia brought out the cakes and cookies she'd stashed in her room so that we could at least hold a small celebration for the New Year's together. After that, we all stayed up together, watched the New Year's first sunrise briefly paint the city in gold, then retired to sleep. When everyone woke up, rubbing their tired eyes, the world outside the bus had completely transformed. was a behemoth of a structure, bizarre in its presence, and its walls seemingly made out of gargantuan steel plates. We're going to IKEA? H Corp? The sinners began to voice their surprise, appropriately so, as what came into view was different from any of the nests we'd passed by on our journey thus far. Is that massive structure all one building? Are we going to IKEA? Seriously? If that holds things to nest, then where's the hell's the back streets? That's big enough to cover H Corp's territory and then some. Well, there he goes again, asking dumb questions without ever taking a peep at the guidebook. That's not the nest. That huge box you see over there? That's District 8. We call it Hangyan, the vast garden, here at H Corp. The nest lies within the center of the structure, and the back streets without. So they squeeze the entire population of this district in there? Did they just not get a ray of sunlight all year round? Huh. Well, at least they won't have to worry about the rain. Ah, pretty! Avail me a sight as well! As the sinner began to gather one by one at the other side of the bus, steered awake from their late night's rest, I felt my gaze drawn towards Honolulu. I looked for signs of concern or distress on his face, worry. It wasn't exactly something unique to Honolulu, but the stories about his past home life we've heard throughout the year, whenever he felt like sharing them, were all consistently and terribly depressing. It's not a bad place, once you actually try living here for a while. But his lips, ever so slightly curled upward into a kindly relaxed smile, are making the same expression as ever. An expression that hasn't changed at all since our first meeting. Maybe it's just a cultural difference, kinda like how Honolulu can be so non-planted about things that should give most people pause, but actually, no, I'm not helping anyone or anything by entertaining these thoughts. My job at this moment is to keep a close eye on Honolulu, more so than usual. And if the time comes for me to help him, as manager, I'll give it my all. I will give you my all. Besides, whoa, this seems even bigger up close. Verily, I carry no recollection of a structure so grand, even in my past adventures of mine. If my efforts aren't enough, I know I can trust the sinners to lend me a hand. Hey, let me see too! I collected my thoughts and approached the sinners, who were flattened up against the glass window to get a good view. Damn! It's so big! Look, that's the bus! Wait, is that the street from that one Limbus Company Island video? The duel! Oh no! Anyways, this should be enough. Let's see. Who am I going to use?
관리인가
지위를 받는
허점을
책임은 모두 내가 진다.
의뢰
저와 함께 준비되었습니다.
사냥감을 찾아
어머 부탁드려요.
Let's get started. This big ass IKEA. Once we left the bus, oh man, can't believe we had to get off the bus here. We have to make a formal complaint against H Corp for this crap. What the hell were they thinking, doing shoddy construction work at the entrance of the highway that leads straight into the nest? Many causes there may be to such construction projects, yet perhaps an early warning sign ere our approach to the site would have been a sensible addition. Were not for young Sharon's most valiant drifting, I shudder to even imagine the terrible possibilities. 'Twould have been a most awful end to an adventure. It's no surprise that the sinners all had a piece of their mind to speak. As we drove up to the entryway, we unexpectedly came across a mess of badly put together steel plates blocking our path in the middle of the road. Sharon quickly spun the bus around, which meant that everyone ended up being thrown about like rag dolls. Good thinking, there was another road off the highway that leads into the city, right? I bet Sharon would have tried to reverse gear all the way back to the last interchange. But Looks like we'll be going through all these winding alleyways to get to the nest. It's so dark in here. We were greeted by a dark street upon disembarking from the bus, illuminated by only faint strands of light. It was immediately obvious that we found ourselves in the back streets of H Corp. Looked pretty impressive from the outside, but it's no different from the other back streets inside, eh? This looks like an industrial workplace. Yep, it's a familiar sight. Gotta say, it's getting real old. I asked thee, is this the nest of this district shrouded in darkness as well? No, these particular sightings are limited to the back streets of District 8. The back streets of this district were very different from the other ones we'd visited in the past. People hurrying through the streets as though they were being chased by something. People scowling and glaring at the ground with some sickness or discomfort. Scenes all too common in every corner of the city. There was one thing about this place that stood out from the other districts, however. They're kind of reminding me of the former G Corp soldiers back at District 4. What? What do you mean? You mean those fellas? The growths on their flesh appeared too organic to be prosthetics. Some of them had odd prostitution or nodules bulging from their skins as well. Not at all manageable. Look, they haven't all mutated in the same pattern, like into an insectoid or form, for example. Well, I guess I should commend you for not looking at them through a biased lens. You are observing the aftermath of District 8's distinctive method of treatment. Oh, so this is where the rumors about that bluish healing ointment came from, huh? Apparently, they can cure any flesh wound after just one night dressed in bandages? It seems that certain misconceptions must be addressed. They are the variations of H Corp's singularity, the bolus. The bolus? She is likely referring to medicines brewed and kneaded into ball-shaped pills. Correct. H Corp, or Hongyan Bioengineering Group, mainly manufactures boluses that contain essence of treatment. The boluses may be taken orally, ground with water into a paste applied directly to the affected area, or dissolved in water, soaked in bandages, and wrapped around the necessary area for treatment. I guess rumors transform as they travel. Oh, I see. I was just thinking about how they do things back at the K Corp. The focus of K Corp's technology is reversal or recovery of one's conditions, returning to the original state, is a keyword in their treatment. It is no rare sight to find unique techniques and technology developed independently by the inhabitants of the backstreets of District 8 using the manufactured boluses. Treatments are not individually customized for each patient. Instead, the focus is on selecting the appropriate technique from a myriad of choices to address the deficiencies in the statuses. Perhaps one could choose the words transformation or evolution as a more illustrative descriptor for the method of treatment. So that's what counts as treated? The crowd Sinclair was pointing at appeared unhurt, as none of them were bleeding or walking with a limp, but many of them appeared dazed, staring blankly at nothing, or scratching absently-mindedly at their mutated parts. Ah, so they must be the regulars. Unexpectedly, we found our answer not from Foss, not from Mersalt, but from Hong Lu. The regulars? Yes, I have heard of them as a child. People who've grown too accustomed to visiting the clinics in search of their mystical treatments. The regulars might appear more intimidating than most people at first glance, but apparently all the side effects they've been stacking changes them in strange ways. It is likely that inter-operation conflicts or issues that will arise when applying highly disparate treatment methods to a single body. At least it's cheaper and alternative for people who didn't sign up for the life insurance. You speak of life insurance? Yes, life insurance. There is a special insurance option to bring the client back to life upon the event of their death. So the irony isn't lost on me, but I thought resurrecting people was one of the head's taboos? The head doesn't consider the revival via life insurance to be a violation of their non-resurrection taboo. It is likely that, on a technical level, this revival is actually categorized as brain resuscitation as opposed to a full resurrection. Degradation of its functions considered, of course. Another fatal downside to this technology is that, unlike the manager's clock winding, the subject cannot be brought back to life if their brain is destroyed. Also, there is a risk of significant losses in the process of information transference. Losses, huh? So maybe some of their mutations could be more than just side effects of these treatments. Huh, maybe, but I heard it takes more than 1 or 2 revivals to change that much. And since apparently people in the back streets could never even dream of paying consistent insurance renewal rates, so... After all, who would sign up for life insurance if using its services could reduce them to such a pitiful state? Yeah, they appear pathetic and pitiful to you, rich bastards, don't they? You'll soon be in the same boat as them, so save some pity for yourself. Identify yourself. The stranger's voices cut through our discussion like a foraging instrument. We turn around to find a large group of people who were clearly up to no good. You must be the young master of that high and mighty Jia family, huh? I can tell just by looking at your pretty face. Your friends, Honglu? No. I haven't had that much chance to get acquainted with the people from Backstreet, so... Nope, I've never met them before. Of course you haven't. Too busy living large, playing gods in a whole different world from us plebs, huh? Not that it matters. We're just here to take the things you brought here for submission to the family hierarchy evaluation. The what evaluation? Okay, there's clearly been a misunderstanding. There's quite a lot of them. We're not off to a great start here, huh? Man. Actually, no. It'd be a violation of our office's core values to jump at them like we're some common thugs. I, Shan San, third son of the Triax office, challenge Jia Biao of the Jia family to a duel. Our wager will be that the winner can take anything they want from the loser. Wait, what do you mean a duel? Duel? I've heard tales that duels of the honorable fixers of the Sing Association Eastern Branch announced their intent to duel by stating their affiliation and name instead of casting their gauntlets. In the pamphlet that the young Ishmael had presented before me earlier, presented the truth that the Triax office is indeed an office of the East, although they are indeed of a lesser quality. 'Tis a true, genuine, accurate decision. 'Tis a true, genuine, accurate declaration of a duel that we behold. So it's just a fencing way of saying 1v1 me, let's go, innit? I mean, this guy doesn't look too rough. What do you think, Faust? Agreed. This individual does not seem to possess any particular exceptional skills that may pose difficulties for Honglu. I think it's gonna be okay. I'll be back in a minute, Dante. You sure this is okay? I don't think you're going to lose against him, but, you know, just in case? No worries. I have some childhood experiences with duels myself. I've done about 10 of them, I think. Ha! So the rich boy's dabbled in some duels, has he? I think you've misunderstood. I meant to say that I've done about 10 of them a day. Oh, but grandmother sometimes let me skip them, so it might have been slightly fewer than that, or some days. What? I, Honglu of Limbus Company, no. I, Biao of the GF family, accept this duel. Honglu stepped forward confidently as the opponent was processing what he just heard. For a moment, Honglu stood there in a stance that did not express even a hint of aggression, before curiously cocking his head to the side. Sorry, are we waiting for something? Oh, so I always let the opponent get the first 2 moves in duels. Please don't hesitate. Let me? You little... Your cocky pride shall be your downfall! The man who introduced himself as Shan San leaps towards Honglu, and then after about a minute. How is this happening? Unlike San, who was throwing punches and swings like with boiling hot passion, Honglu was effortlessly gliding between his opponent's strike as he was out on a picnic, as though this was but a leisurely stroll through a garden. Whenever San Shan threw a powerful punch, Honglu redirected it to the side with ease, the fist only grazing his clothes. We were mesmerized by the feathery light movements of his hands and feet that effortlessly glided through the air, until, after one blink and you'll miss it moment, we realized that San Shan was already face down on the ground, defeated. Huh? Young Honglu, hast thou have been concealing thy full strength in our presence? Oh no, I wouldn't say that. I always put my all into every fight. Yet, to defeat this foe so soundly, to dance with such grace between the strikes is, 'twas as though thou wert dueling someone whose skill may only measure against a child's. But most of our fights happen in environments with a lot of variables, and we usually fight against enemies with all kind of unexpected weapons or powers. You read him. Already familiar with that fool's moves? Oh yes, one of my Biwu instructors used similar techniques as this gentleman here. Practice makes perfect, and perfection makes an expert, right? Right, but I'm not sure if that's entirely relevant here. Well, anyways, looks to me that he suddenly kicked your behind in his duel. Let us through, why don't you? And preferably not do the thing I think you're about to do. This duel wasn't overseen by a Notori office anyway, and our employer's gonna not let this failure slide if we just leave. Don't just sit there. Leave for your asses and jump them. Gank them. Pathetic. I can kinda see how we're becoming experts at getting jumped. With the bitter cry of the defeated, his gang rushed towards us. Rats.
유감 없는 싸움을 기대하겠소. 당신의 판단을 따를게요. 그 삶에 마침표를! 지금 공로와 지원하면 예사롭지가 않은데? 아주 작사를 내놨어!
전의 위대한 일격을 기록하는 중.
Dude, even the floor is made out of ads. What the hell?
랜단 4월을 이후 특별히 청원을 이루 그렇게 시원하게 처리하니 보는 맛이 나노. 일 처리는 빠르게 했으면 잘된다.
완벽한 선택이었어, 나리! 저들의 약점이 뻔히 보이는 게로군.
나아가주게. 한 점만 노린다. 깔끔한 헤드샷.
Awesome.
머리통에 작살났다고. 다음 목표로.
Awesome. This really isn't a great start, fellas. It's never easy, is it? Hey, at least we got a nice warm-up. It wasn't all bad. I don't know. This seems more serious than our usual street brawls. Ishmael's right. They weren't your everyday thugs who pick fights with random people for no good reason. They were contracted by someone to specifically target and eliminate Hong Lu. And given how open they were about their intent, calling it a contract, it doesn't seem like whoever gave the contract was exactly going for subtly. Then maybe this is what Jia Shijun was talking about way back when she mentioned surviving as hares. Whoever's behind this must have a bone to pick with Hong Lu. Indeed, it seems that we must expect more skirmishes like this going forward. Alas, was this trial not readily overcome? Not the point. Think on it a little more. Seems like they're assuming that Hong Lu's brought something here in order to participate in that family evaluation. Then there's no reason to assume that we've seen the last of them. They're going to try again to take out the competition. A highly accurate assessment of the situation by the executive manager. I expected no less from someone of your genius. Going for the classics of brown-nosing today, Altus? Since when was it brown-nosing to compliment a job well done? Do you not expect... This naive conversation is most riveting, but I would prefer some silence while we wait. It seems that the company foresaw such difficulties. They've sent you a support team to help handle this issue. We heard voices coming from behind us, but from where Virgilius pointed. My, you guys still haven't learned how to stick to the plan, have you? It really threw me off when I was told to meet you in some backstreets location away from our agreed rendezvous point. A familiar voice, a voice we cannot forget. Oh, hello, Sadi. Been a while, everyone. Hi, I'm here too. We turned around to follow where the voice was coming from and recognized the two people we've been hoping to see again. Damn, in an intervalo?
그 정도 화력으로 우리 사무소를 막을 수 있을 줄 알았냐? 저놈들 무기까지 줘서 철수하자고.
Sadi? And hey, Pilot, right? What's wrong? It's like you're all looking at a ghost, Pilot. Ghost, Pilot, didn't you tell me that you've shared my news with them the last time? I did. I sure did, ma'am. Oh yeah, he did. The sinners each recovered from the initial shock of seeing them again. And soon, their faces began to bloom with relieved smiles. Wow, look, it's the only character other than Philip to have to survive a main character story part. Well, good to see that things haven't changed much around here. Sadi, we're so glad to see you're okay. Talk to you, too. Good to see your gears are turning just fine. Sadi smiled with a familiar grin. She did not seem to have changed much since the last time we've met, save for a few minor differences. Her outfit and her badge, for example. Last I recall, you were promoted, yes? Allow me to congratulate you. Yeah, haha. Or the hints of melancholy hanging from her smile and flickering in her eyes. Hey! I am merely congratulating her on her promotion and offering a recognition of her excellent accomplishments. I don't see what your problem is here. But we all know the meaning of that promotion carries. Indeed, and it is very profound. After all, what meaning is there to a promotion attained without spilling some blood? You're a real piece of work. Let me ask you something then. If everyone behaves like you do around her, tiptoeing around the facts, keeping it hush-hush about what happened, where is she going to get the bare minimum of the recognition and consolation she deserves? Hush-hush would have been nice. I even overheard some of them whispers that I let my partner die just so I can snag a promotion. So in that regard, I appreciate that, Aldous. If we were being technical, I did die, except my brain was intact. Not even H Corp's regenerative ampules would have revived me if it wasn't. Then did Effie also? Apparently, they went right for Effie's head when they stabbed him with a prosthetic. According to the coroner's autopsy, H Corp ampules, life insurance, neither of them can revive someone with a damaged brain. It is what it is. That's that, and this is this. Anyways, let's not dwell on the depressing stuff. We're here for work. Let's get some work done. So let's talk about work, okay, Pilot? Yes, ma'am. Well, let's see here. Coincidentally... Hold on. Alright, hold on. Sorry, I'm back. Anyways, I just took a quick water break. Anyways, well, let's see here. Coincidentally, I happen to make friends with a fellow who has ties to the GF family, so I brought him over. Hey, is that everything? Yes, sir. Briefing over. Just as everyone was reeling in stunned silence at that least informative, least helpful briefing we had ever had the displeasure of sitting through, Ishmael was the first to catch herself. She looked up at Saudi. Saudi, can we rely on you for some elaboration here? The briefing was a good demonstration of the necessity of education the 5 W's and 1 H principle. Looks like we'll do a lot. Looks like we have a lot to discuss once we get back, Pilot. Did I do something wrong? Shh, Pilot, buddy, just stop. You're digging yourself a deeper hole with every word. Gregor quickly leaned in to warn Pilot, but it was likely too late. A nigh unnoticeable crease had already formed between Saudi's brows. Prior to commencing this high-priority operation, it was necessary for us to find individuals with connections to H Corp. So we, as a preliminary observation unit, were put to the task, and we managed to establish a connection with an individual. Oh, someone from my family? No, we tried, but your family proved to be a rather difficult nut to crack. However, as we were wasting our precious time with all of our leads, Pilot pursued an unconventional method to establish this connection. I really didn't hold back on compliments then, and this is how you... Our collaborator is a former employee of the GF family. After leaving the family, he now runs a lodging business. Then it is likely that he is far removed from the family politics, less motivation for him to attack us due to conflicting interests. Yes, and according to Pilot's report, he still regards the GF family positively. How can I not, considering the blessings they have given me? An unfamiliar voice butted into the conversation, as though to continue Saudi's explanation. I humbly present myself before the fellowship of young Master Biao. Please call me Qing Tao. He greeted us in a most polite fashion before bringing his hands together in an odd motion. Holy shit, we got the anime villager. Oh, is this how people greet each other here? Yep, it's called the Biaokuan gesture. Bringing fists and palms together to express respect and peace towards the receiver. Aha! Knights greet one another by shaking their hands for the self-same purpose. Forsooth, thou art indeed 1% of a chivalrous spirit. Ah, indeed. Much should I worry about the qualities of people young master has surrounded himself with, but I see that he is in company of those wise in the way of the streets. I prostrate myself before the vast breadth of your knowledge. What grand generosity it is to open ajar the waterways of wisdom to quench my barren lands. Something feels familiar about this. Nah, she's been getting less and less verbose with licking these days. Not like this guy for sure. That's true. He's kind of like, how should I put this? A bit too much. What are you guys talking about? Communicating only by the sound of a ticking clock. This is something I had already known ahead of time, yet what a most curious exchange to behold in person. Brief this journey may be, but I shall find myself thoroughly entertained by it in its entirety. This kind of reminds me of some comic I read. Maybe it's a subtle sprinkle of disrespect that reminds you of the usual flavor. Wait, it says about me, you dare? Was all that bootlicking she did supposed to be a source of pride for her or something? Aldous shook her head with a clear distaste and strode towards me. We are nothing alike, executive manager. Never have I once said such empty flattery in your presence, filled with nothing but hot air and superlatives. I'll leave the guidance of these back streets to him. Well, looks like this is where... Saudi fell silent, her eyes lingering on Virgilius, who stood somewhat apart from the rest of us. So I finally get to meet the Red Gaze in the flesh. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. Effie would have loved to be here. But manager... Virgilia seemed to sense her lingering gaze and walked towards us after nodding silently in her direction. Manager Sadi, let's not make this any longer than it has to be. I'm not happy to be helping you with your business, sis. I'd rather put this behind me as soon as possible. Oh please, it's our historic first collaborative operation, isn't it? Can't you spare a little more time with us? The guide bud's actually doing something? That guy? Bro hasn't seen Canto 6? Or the last interval? Yes, unfortunately, the LCC has our own businesses to take care of today, so I won't be accompanying the LCB this time, and the Red Gaze will be helping us out to get it done. Taking Mephi there. Vroom, vroom. Huh. Maybe it's not that fortunate, now that I think of it. I feel like every mission with the LCB's always been an uphill battle to get anything done. Well, you see, back then we were... just messing with you. I'm sure we'll have another chance to work together again. Boss, we don't got much time. Wait, before you go, I think you owe some explanation, Virgilius. I will leave the details to Miss Foss. I am quite busy. Very well. Virgilius turned around and left towards Mistopheles with an oddly disgruntled expression. Well then, I see you around. Next time, I'll show you all. I'll show you that I can carry my own weight. You know, oh boy, that last time we met, I was really so darn pathetic. Pilot, competence is shown through action, not words. Saudi and Pilot gave us light nods before following Virgilius. Some seniors opened their mouths to speak, hesitated, then closed them again. We let them go without a word. Perhaps we didn't know what we could say to not make this an awkward farewell. Very well. Please, this way. For some reason I feel like you're going to distort. Or maybe we were simply mindful of this guy who was responsible for the quality of our stay. Ambush. Damn, look at all those cues.
제압을 준비합니다.
Deep resentment about to be asked away. For when the far one comes, betwixt the burnt doors shall a star fall astray. Are you sure we're going the right path? I don't like the sound of these weird songs. The main streets are most likely teeming with those seeking to bring harm to the young master. We must venture an alternative path. And like he said, there weren't any skirmishes once we made it deeper into the dark alleyways. The lack of foot traffic would normally be pretty unsettling, but I guess that's what we needed at this moment. As for the song, it's a song that's become rather popular in the backstreets in recent months. The lyrics are pretty ominous for a popular song. It's a song that spread through the word of mouth. It sings of how decimated Kong family. This is not the place to discuss such matters. I will share the tale in a more appropriate setting later, should we come across it. Didn't know there was a song just like that. Is this the first time you've heard of it, Honglu? It's a posh gift from a posh family. I doubt he's ever set his precious feet in the back streets, so it's no wonder he's never heard anything like it. Huh. I have been to the back streets before, but Heathcliff wasn't wrong. I did spend most of my time in my room. That is precisely because you were the most treasured one of them all, young master. Much like how the jade of the greatness worth is to be cherished, prized, and hidden in the deepest depth of one's coffers where none shall reach. I'm like him? To a lesser degree, particularly as of late. Huh. So that guy used to work for the GF family, huh? Do you know him, Honglu? Huh? Young master? Is there something on my face? Honglu stopped himself as though a thought flashed in his head and glanced quietly in my direction. Then, it's nothing. Shall we continue walking down this road? Indeed, humble as I may be, I am very well versed in the roads of this area. Honglu shook his head at me as he casually changed the subject. It was as though he was trying to hide something we know from Queen Tao. Should he be suspicious of something? He is a collaborator, but only a temporary one. A degree of caution would be advisable. Given Pilot's clear inexperience and naivety, we would do well to maintain suspicious of this character. Foss and Aldous approached me as Honglu was nodding along and chatting magnificently with our guide. Well, looking back at our journey so far, I think we learned our lesson about blindly trusting every collaborator we've come across. With this growling mistrust in mind, I slowly made my distance from the guide before asking Foss the burning question. So what was that about back there with Virgilius? Something about him going off to help them out? The consequence of his actions at Wuthering Heights. Oh. His actions were a violation of one of the more important items in his contract with the company. He is simply taking responsibility for the breach of his contract. I think back to the incident at the manor. It feels like such a long time ago now. No shit, that shit was last year. Well, that's kind of a bummer. He really helped us out of a pickle. What? That's what they're dragging him away for? Is there a problem, honored guests? It's nothing at all. No problem, right, you should. Shut up, idiot. Ursot, can you carry Heathcliff for a little bit? He's dead tired. It will be done. Heathcliff, punched in the gut by the hilt of Ryushu's sword, fell forward right onto Mersot's welcoming shoulder. Rodeo? You know, the kind of person I hate the most, the kind of dull person who can't read the room. Don't you feel the same way, Dante? Yep. I nodded enthusiastically, as though something seemed to imply that she wasn't really asking me a question. I don't think she was about to punch my lights out, but Rodion and Ryushu judged correctly this time. Classified company information must not be discussed in the presence of an outsider. Reminds me of the time he got knocked out cold for a while because he kept asking questions without raising his hands. This guy just doesn't learn, huh? You successfully preserved the secrecy of classified information without spilling blood. I applaud this policy. I did good, didn't I? I'm just not a fan of how they're treating Heathcliff like dirt now. If it is no problemo, as you say, then that is well indeed. Yet I worry that it may appear that the problem has found us anyway. I stopped and looked around, realizing that we were surrounded by a group of people wielding various weapons in their hands. What, happened to finding us a safer path? It's likely that my guidance has indeed given us a much safer path away from the more obvious skirmishes. However, to my greatest regret, it appears that the more observant of our enemies have tracked us here. Damn it! Then what are you even here for? Isn't your job to prevent this exact scenario? Let's leave the finger pointing for later. We're gonna have to take them all down. They must not be allowed to decimate our current location. Exactly. Where are y'all sneaking off to, Mr. Wingtail? I must regrettably and humbly say that my talents in war are terribly lacking, so I intend to become a Scars for a moment. Yet, I have the utmost faith in the strength of our young master and the honorable guest in overcoming this adversary, so... Wingtail was already standing so far away from the front lines that he was practically hiding behind me. Foss, anything you can tell us about these enemies? No, but a consultation with the Gesellschaft seems unnecessary if we were to determine whether negotiating them is an option. They're coming. Mersalt, wake Heathcliff up and sit him down. It will be done. Deploying Heathcliff.
자, 맞서보죠. 우리들에게
Damn,
이깟
what
파도
swords are those swords?
별것도 아니잖아요.
Those knife looks pretty cool. Nice knife.
꿰뚫려라! 아, 이런.
낙인을
아무튼
새겨들
놀라운 한방이네요.
훌륭한 이후 천원의 이후
Bro.
최고의 선택이었어 관리자. 그 삶에 마침표를 사선이 비었어요.
Now that's what I want to happen.
옳은 것인가? 엄청나게 강한 일격을!
이번에야말로
다들 기세등등하네요.
끝내주겠어.
지금 공격해보는 건 어떨까요, 관리자님?
당신의 판단을 따르라.
그래, 그렇게 시원하게 처리하니 보는 맛이 나는군. 이리저리 빠르게 하는 게 더 답답한 놀이지. 육청! 확실히
52,
훌륭하고
52.
오버한 수감이자 정말 위험한
예사롭지가
순간도
않은데?
넘어간 적
아주 작사를 내놨어.
나아가주게. 기를 테니
좋아. 잠깐만.
편히 쉬시게. 잠든 그대를 길
이런 건 몽둥이가 약이지. 그대로 두드려 패.
굉장해요.
그 삶의 마침표를 적확한 한압이었어.
방금 전에 위대한 일격을 기록하는 중간에 이따가 버스에서 회고해야 하지 않겠는가?
벤단 4월을 본
한 점만 노린다. 깔끔한 헤드샷. 머리통에
이 공격은 꽤 먹혀든 것 같아요.
먼저 빠진다.
Cool. Hostiles in the immediate vicinity have been eliminated. Our collaborator, who had been hiding far from the battle, quickly ran up to our side as soon as the fight ended. Sorry. Again, I'm pretty terrible with speaking due to my communication impairments due to my genetics, aka having autism ADHD. Are you unhurt, young master? Yep, I'm totally fine. Of course, our honored guest's martial skills were all the exceptionally brilliant, but young master, your light was brightest even among the incandescent. This humble servant cannot hold back his tears at this wonderful sight to witness such excellent martial arts from none other than the young master himself. What an unexpected surprise! But don't the children of GF family undergo all kinds of strict training regimens from childhood? It was simply my assumption that the young master had ceased his trainings once he departed from his family. Anyway, how do you think they tracked us down anyway? About that, it appears that we weren't exactly tracked down. Perhaps it may be that the ilk of Perhaps it may be that the ilk who lurk in these parts of the backstreets recognize the young master's venerable countenance. I don't think my face is that well known. The family hierarchy and valuations are nigh. Every soul living in Hongyang must know the face of the young master who is loved by every elder of the family. It must be that they are under the assumption that you are carrying something of great value. Family hierarchy, huh? Didn't Jia Zishun say something about years back then? They're all assumed wrong then. I didn't bring anything precious that the elders might be looking for. Young master, even now, I just couldn't care less about it, that's all. Besides, many of my siblings are much better fit to be the family hierarch than I am. Huh, that's... well, that is indeed a relief. A relief, that is? Well, but of course, it is a highly dangerous endeavor to partake in the hierarch evaluations, so it is of great relief to note that the young master is not putting himself in unnecessary danger. I guess that could be a relief, sort of. Let me guess, we're gonna have to enter that family whatever evaluation, and the grand prize for that is the hair title and a golden bow. I guess that's sort of a relief, sort of. Phew, now that we all took him down, there shouldn't be any more on the way, right? Greg, can we not jinx ourselves for 1 second? Why are you laughing, Ryusho? Now I'm worried. Please do not concern yourselves any further. We will take a more clandestine path. I guarantee a safe and easy passage to our destination. I still have a hard time buying that. The lay of this place can constitute a perfect place to set up an ambush in most places. Yet you claim this to be the safer path? Yet I must ask you to place your faith in this humble servant, for Hangyang is not like most places. Fine, for now. Aldous shut her eyes for a moment, out of retorts, then looked at Ishmael. Hey Ishmael, you must have had a pamphlet of this place handy, don't you? No way, you're actually going to read it? Why else would I ask? No, I mean, how could I not be caught off guard after almost a whole year of getting brushed off by everyone every time I plead with them to read the damn pamphlets? Like hell, did no one think to? I will find my own intel if you're just going to ramble on and on with your grievances. Okay, fine, here it is. Aldous opened the pamphlet and began intently glaring at its text, as though she didn't want to miss even the smallest detail of information in there. Suspicion clear on her knitted brows. It takes a sussy baka to know a sussy baka.
그 정도 화력으로 우리 사무소를 막을 수 있을 줄 알았냐? 저놈들 무기까지 주어서 철수하자고.
Wait, how many? I wonder, how many stages are there? Oh, 12. We've only been through 4.
제압을 준비합니다.
Cool. We were on a desperate run, all the while fighting off hordes upon hordes of enemies. Oi, what happened to safe and easy passage? Explain this shit! It appears that the young master's radiant countenance was made known. I thought we were finding a more clandestine passage. How come we're getting jumped by even more enemies? As I have said, the young master's radiant at least tried to give a little variation to your excuses. I cannot so easily say that he is being untruthful given the disjointed allegiance of the enemies attacking us. Aldous played with the pamphlet in her hands, clearly frustrated but unable to establish anything concrete. For people without a clear allegiance to attack a member of the GF family, looks like everyone in the back streets has been getting pretty plucky while I was away. Back then, I couldn't even catch a glimpse of their faces. They'd all be on their hands and knees whenever we'd walk past. What a wonderful change. Oh, shove that wonderful change up your ass, you bloody loon. How about longer until we get there? My Kazan is near. Calm your worries. Our guide seems oddly calmer now than he did at the beginning of this journey. Did he really get numbed by all the violence and fast, or... Speaking of which, what's a Kazan? It is a term usually commonly referred to as taverns, inns, or equivalent places of lodging in this region. Lodging, huh? Sounds like a hotel? It's gotta be pretty fancy then, huh? Do they serve like complimentary snacks and drinks like the warp train? Not sure about that, but it seems like Kazans also serve alcohol and food alongside their lodging services. Maybe we can get a meal in there. And, hopefully we won't get attacked in there like this. Residential non-aggression taboo. Any mutual act of violence inside a residential building is, within this particular area and floor of Pyongyang, a taboo. A taboo. Maybe rest easy within then. I saw Foss's eyebrows slightly twitch, as though she had just heard the most ridiculous thing. But I guess I'll ask about her later. Ask about it later. Phew. Man, if it's for some kind of family hierarchy or family head selection contest, why couldn't they save all this fighting until then? Because it would have been too late. Huh? Late how? Every hierarchy candidate must have brought an incredibly precious treasures with them. It would have been nice if they believed that their own treasures is the most precious of them all, but everyone's going to try to take each other's, just to be sure. I see. Just in some cases, someone else must have bought even better than their own. And might as well kill them too, for the sake of convenience. Is that how the folks in your family think? What kind of line of thinking is that? But other families don't seem too different from mine, fuhu. Oh damn! Deepest apologies for intruding upon this most enthralling conversation, however. We may be inviting even further trouble by dilly-dallying here. With that, the guide pointed out a watch to check time. It will be nighttime soon. Ah dear, here comes the main focus of the event later.
여러분에게
Holy
도움이
shit,
되었으면
it's the red
좋겠네요.
chamber.
한 점만 노린다.
Bruh.
꿰뚫려라!
편히 쉬시게.
굉장해요. 엄청난 공격이었어요. 어떻게 저렇게 강하실 수 있죠? 당신의 판단을 따르.
저들도 내가 물을 싫어하는 극도로 기피하는 것이 있었군. 이것들을 꺼내는 정말
Damn, 2 HP.
분위기
You're dead, Marco.
깔끔한 헤드슈트. 시야 확보.
편히 쉬시게.
그렇게 시원하게 처리해. 그런 맛이 나는.
이러면 쏠 수 있죠?
공유 지원한다.
답답한 법이지.
와, 엄청난 공격이었어. 기념할 만한 걸.
벤담, 서울.
아무튼 놀라운 한방이네요. 효과적이네요.
쏠 수 있죠?
이 음식을 기억하는 게 좋겠어요.
방금 전에 위대한 일격을 기록하는 중간에 이따가 버스에서 회고해야 하지 않겠는가?
나아가주게. 잠들게.
낙인 새겨들이
완전 프레임 선택이었어, 나리! 저들의 약점이 차원이 보이는 기록은
예사롭지가 않은데? 아주 작사를 내놨어. 빠진다.
Now, here we are. Is this the place? After running through alleyway after alleyway, after turning corner after corner, we finally came across the side of several small buildings tightly built next to one another. At the center of them was a building lit with red lamps, adorned with a door plate with complicated-looking letters scribbled over it. This is shoddier than expected. Hey, isn't this place a little bit too trashy to house your precious young master? That is not our building. Please, look this way to see where our honored guest will be staying for the night. I knew it! I knew I heard so much about Honglu, about all the splendor, all the... Huh? We followed Queen Tao's finger and arrived at a small warehouse of sorts. Its exterior painted in black. That looked smaller than even Mistopheles. Can we even fit in there? Hey, that place looks trashy as heck, even for us, let alone your young master. This is the nearest Kazan we could afford to stay in, at least among the others that I manage. Yet its location in the back streets heavily limits the level of decency I can afford. My deepest and sincerest apologies, young master. Don't worry, we can always sleep in the decent places. Looks just fine for an overnight stay for me. Are you nuts? Can that thing even fit all of us in there? Much did I wish to guide the honored guests to the family's mansion in the central zone. However, the time... Oh-ho, sweep and wave. Doesn't that start at 3:13 in the morning? I feel like we've got plenty of time to get there. Exactly. Don't we have more than enough time to get to the family mansion? According to the H Corp travel guide, the central area is only like an hour away from here. Has the honored guest traveled to District 8 before? Well, no. This is my first time here, but then one must ask how the honored guest could claim to have the full understanding of a place merely by flipping through a book, when she hasn't had to contend with it in person. Innumerable, unpredictable changes await in this teeming jungle of buildings. The ever-shifting structures, the constantly changing paths, ambushes from foolish yet vicious syndicates, or even offices of the backstreet. Oh, we are beset by danger of all sides. Such bold, flippant approach to predicting the phenomena of this page is to court death. Even a toddler must know that. One fails to disguise his utter sorrow at the inadequacy of her wisdom. Is it just me, or are we all thinking back to Ishmael back at the Great Lake? Zip it, Dante! If the guidebook lists the path, does it not imply that it is technically possible to reach there in time? Alice suddenly took a step forward. In her hand was the H Corp travel pamphlet that Ishmael was talking about. I have faith that our executive manager would lead us in your directionally challenged instead, that they would be able to lead us to our destination before the night falls. Me? This does not appear to have been discussed beforehand. Very well. Allow me to speak freely without frills. My responsibility is to bring the honored guests to the essential zone and to ensure the young master's safety. It is, indeed, technically possible to reach the family mansion before the night the back streets commences. Technically. Yet, not even one iota of danger to the young master shall be permitted. The mission that has been so graciously bestowed upon this humble servant is not to guide the young master with haste, but to guide him with utmost safety. Oh, it is said that those engaging in strategies and plans must remain wary of losing sight of their purpose, to stubbornly forge onward to the family mansion in lieu of necessary intel to see when these mobs of assailants would end, is to wrongly prioritize the journey over the destination. You. Wonderful, truly impressive. You have all the qualities of someone I would trust with my life when devising a stratagem. This is the most fitting attitude for those who genuinely wish the best for those who they serve. Really? You're just gonna start getting along with them all of a sudden? I have misunderstood your intentions, truly. They sparked my ire by comparing some of your choice words with my very own. Yet now, my eyes have been opened to the honest loyalty that lies within your heart. It takes a backstabber to know one. This humble servant did not even imagine in his wildest dreams that there could be someone who understands the fathoms of his loyalty. It seems the young master has certainly gained an eye for allies and fellowships. This is a cause for much relief in my heart. Listen to him. This one knows how to jest. They're basically best buds now, huh? I may have lost my cooler for a moment there. Anyways, this man speaks true. It is highly likely that we would be exposed to attacks of similar nature were we to continue moving at this time. She's just fully on the side now, isn't she? That's when I realized that she was looking in my direction. The exaggerated smile had all but completely faded from her face, replaced with an odd but dead serious expression. When our gazes locked, she nodded. She must be completely turned around by that guy. Is this her way of saying, so long, I'm gonna quit and work with this guy now. Thanks for everything. And as for this hotel, it is still much better than sleeping in outdoor tent barracks. We should be able to relieve ourselves of some fatigue here before moving on. Did you not earlier insist on continuing our search for a better accommodation with the greatness vehemence, Miss Aldous? Yeah, whatever. We get your point. Let's just go inside. Phew. My humblest self can only behold your generous acceptance of the insufficient lodging with the deepest gratitude. After all that serious talk, the man seems oddly relieved to hear our decision that he brought his fists and palm together. Architecture of the day mustn't be judged with such haste merely by an observation of their exterior. The interior may hold out to be a surprise of, were we not? With Rodion surrendered, wouldn't it be nice? We made our way into the building. Whoa, this ain't actually so bad. It's clean in here. This place represents a rather classical aesthetic. The landscape paintings lining the walls give off a rather sophisticated mood, and it's much more spacious inside than it looks from the outside. Did they use some kind of space expansion analogy in here too? No, it seems that the building only appeared small due to the density of structures in proximity. Well, the door is now open. Should my presence be required, I shall be in the small shed next to this building. Please, do converse freely. The man smiled awkwardly and quietly excused himself as the excitement among the sinners began to grow. Meanwhile, Hung Lu stood a fair distance from the guide, quietly watching his face as he slept. His expression was enigmatic, as if he were gazing upon the clouds, the flowers, or even the wind. Yet there was no light in those eyes. It was as if they beheld a storm cloud, a desolate field of wilted flowers, a howling, destructive gale. Do you suspect something, Hong Lu? So I decide to ask. Not yet, I don't think. Huh? Not yet? So, big brother, something felt off to you too, huh? That's when we caught a familiar voice. Wow, Zixun, it's you, and so soon too. Yeah, I told you I had the feeling we'd be seeing each other again very soon. Have you been well, young master? I'm so glad to see that you're doing well, Mr. Wai. Oh wait, did you tell me that you're staying here too, Zixun? I normally wouldn't ever set foot in a place like this, but I ran into some kind of large-scale construction on my way back to the familiar mansion. Had to come in through the back streets. So we weren't the only ones troubled by that random construction site. Oh, hail to thee! The confident look on Zixun's face was immediately replaced by that of alarm. Did she lose her memories again? Is she with you? No, Don Quixote is the same as always. But she looks like such an airhead. Young Zixun, well, what is thou company to the lounge for the moment, so that we may share a moment of catching up? Oh yeah, actually, let's do that. Hold on. Jia Zixun seemed to hesitate for a moment, staring at Don Quixote after hearing that her memories were intact, before walking right up to her. I like that idea, shall we? Right? Why don't you go and find a room for me to stay in while I talk some things out with her? What? You wanted to do some catching up, right? Just, Managers, clear! Loss of critical personnel may be a cause for disciplinary action, Dante. I don't think that there's anything wrong with making friends, though. Looks like Zixun really likes Don Quixote if she's comfortable enough to tease her like that. It's not Don Quixote she likes. She obviously wants Don Quixote's powers she saw back then. My lady, this is hardly an appropriate place for... Fine, I'll try again later. Go get some sleep. I'm heading on to... Zixun sighed with a bit of disappointment before heading into the lobby. Well, let's all head inside now. So I and the rest of the sinners followed her into the lodging. This girl was literally about to break a taboo.
그 정도 화력으로 우리 사무소를 막을 수 있을 줄 알았냐? 저놈들 무기까지 주어서 철수하자고.
Oh my god, she has a character. Oh my god, Mr. Y has a character model? No way. Everyone was busy looking around and commenting on various things in our lodging, but Sinclair appeared to be the most anxious of them all. Sinclair? Something in here stands out. Like, imagine an ideal future. Did you call? Ah, I missed that joke, Yi-san. That's not what I'm not... anyways, am I the only one who feels like something stands out like a sore thumb from the whole picture? Oh yeah, glad you brought it up. I didn't say anything because I thought it was just me. Oh yeah. So what's off about this place? Isn't it obvious? Where'd all the complimentary snacks go? Where's that weird mystery table at the center of this room? Huh? That is kind of weird though. What's that table doing there? Its saturated colors are quite the pleasant sight to behold. So it is any better, it's... What the hell is that hideous table? What the fuck is that table? It's so small! Their kerfuffle sparked by the particularly unsightful piece of indoor furniture calmed somewhat once everyone made it inside the building. Of course, no one was able to discern the real purpose of that table yet. Every step on the floor leaves a black residue on the shoes. Not only on the floor, touching the walls leaves an unidentified black substance on one's fingers. Not to mention how the walls ripple in odd fashion. What could possibly be the construction of this structure? Well, my guess is that the maintenance staff has been slacking. Maybe, but why is everything so neatly organized if that's the case? I've been to enough CD establishments to tell when a place has gone up a while without a titty up. At least it appears that each room is furnished with a bed. While this is far from optimal, Executive Manager, we may be able to rest here. I guess they really didn't have the time to clean up. Jie Zixun, the last person to walk in after having taken her time to examine the area outside the lobby, stared blankly around the room with an aghast expression. I'm not even sure what to say to this ridiculous negligence. Then found her room after leaving a scathing remark. It ain't the first time we're sauntering around to some shady business in it. Let's just cross that bridge when we come to it, yeah. I guess. Anyone could tell that there was something definitely wrong about that guy. Some sinners, including Heathcliff, had already slumped into the floor, ferociously expressing their desire to rest with a collective sigh of exhaustion. Well, it is pretty weird, but at least we have a roof over our heads. In that case, Dante, perhaps this may be a good time to announce today's close of business? I never made this announcement outside the bus before. Oh, right. I hereby confirm today's close of business for the sinners. Understood. Thank you kindly. Starting now, you will all be given a maximum of 12 hours to partake in sleep and rest. The duration is subject to change. Have a good night. Look at that window. Look, the red chamber. As soon as he finished, the sinners each began to relax in their own ways, some stumbling into the rooms, while others lingered to speculate over the bizarre table at the center of the room. Seriously, why is that so small? That That table could hold like at least 8 plates with that size, or 5. What the heck? Say for Aldous, that is. Got something to say, Aldous? Yes, Executive Manager. It's about our guide, Queen Tao. Oh, your new best friend from earlier? Seemed like you guys were getting along pretty well. What? That is simply untrue. Did you not see the signal I gave you earlier? What signal? Oh, you mean when you nodded slightly in my direction? Indeed, that individual has an informational advantage over us when it comes to this locale. Regardless of how sound the accusations we came up with were, he would have been able to explain right away using his familiarity with this region. I thought, as a party with an informational disadvantage, it would be wise to find camaraderie and friendship with that individual and go along with the plans while trying to dig as much intel as possible. I seriously thought the suspicious guy totally won you over. Executive Manager, I've been in this business for many years. How could you even imagine that I would be fooled by an amateur spy who's so overly it's nothing. Alice's disappointment was palpable, but she stopped herself as though she remembered that there were more important matters at hand. Ahem. While it is uncertain as how long that individual will be accompanying us, it would be reasonable to speculate that he approached the LCCB with the explicit purpose of eliminating Hong Lu, Jiabiao. I present the fact that it was Pilot, that inexperienced greenhorn, who somehow conveniently came across this connection, as another evidence supporting this suspicion. That's also true. Foss also has information to share. Foss joined the conversation after listening to us discuss for some time. A review of every known taboo has failed to identify one we call residential non-aggression taboo that universally prohibits acts of violence within residential areas. Then that also has to be. It is too early to come up with a conclusion regarding that matter. It appears that this area, Hongyang, has taboos that change depending on your location within its territory. However, considering every other circumstantial evidence, we can come to the conclusion that he was most likely lying to us. Your assessment cannot be denied. In that case, we must already be deep within the enemy's machinations. The constant stream of random assailants we faced earlier was also most likely a part of their plan. It may very well be that this building itself is also a trap, yet we lack the intelligence about this particular back street to be certain. However, we do have one minor advantage. It seems that they have been severely underestimated our capabilities given the low caliber of the sins they've decided to send after us. One thing we can capitalize on is that mutual lack of intel. Keep our guard up, remain alert, and we should be able to navigate our way out of this trap, Executive Manager. Okay, I get it now. I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. Honestly, I didn't know who or what to trust. Then I would appreciate it if you could trust me fully next time. Alice bowed politely and returned to her room. Foss and I chatted a little about King Tao and his plans, but our discussion ended without bearing much fruit. The walls look pretty nice. I like that. Paintings, or I wonder what they call it. Holy shit. The kindlings. Oh, you can see a little bit of people here. And then the jade turquoise look here. Witnessing. Oh my god. The surrendered witnessing? The witnessing of the witnessing? I realized that Hong Lu was missing as I was spending time chatting with the sinners. I didn't notice him going into his room. So I walked to the exit, about to look for Hong Lu outside, and ran into Xia Shishun and Wai, who decided to stay in the room close to the door. It's getting late. Where are you going alone without a guard? Oh, just looking for Hong Lu. Right. I can't understand what you're saying. Oh, right. When it comes to conversing without the sinners, I find that there are two types of people. The first type usually says whatever was on their mind without pausing for or caring to hear my reply. Given that this type of person isn't actually looking to communicate with me, that simplifies things a little on my end, however. However, it is oddly insulting, as it seems as though they don't recognize me as a human, but rather a wall, or a clock on the wall. Wow, it's... highly controversial man, Hubert, and... Ahab. And the other type is the one that reads me so well that they might as well be able to hear what I'm saying. Virgilius falls into the latter category. He recognizes the pitch of my tics and talks, reads my body and language, and sometimes even claims to see my expressions, like how Don Quixote does. And Jiashun, who saw through me with that short exchange. Okay, let's see, just looking to get some early morning air? Oh, does your prosthetics head even have a respiratory function? Wouldn't have guessed from the way it looks. Did not belong in either category. No, not really. I'm just looking for Hong Lu because I haven't seen him in a while. You're shaking your head, so no. Then are you looking for something to eat? She's a new one, the type that tries to figure out what I'm saying without asking for help. My lady, do not be so wise to wake or find someone who may be able to translate. They would have done that themselves if it were something important. I'm kind of curious though. What is that hand gesture you made when I first asked? You brought your index fingers up to your cheeks. Well, Hong Lu's always smiling, so I thought maybe I could simulate a smile to convey that I'm looking for him. Huh. Perhaps it was an effort to express cuteness or beauty. What? No, I was trying to express a smiling face. Oh no, this ain't going to be easy, ain't it? Huh? The tick talking more vigorously. Hey, I think you're onto something. This conversation was starting to veer into a completely unintended territory. After a bit of trial and error, I see, you're looking for my big brother, huh? We took some very roundabout ways, but I was eventually able to get her to understand what I'm trying to say. Well, if he is who you're looking for, that's easy. He's be able to find him by the lounge, back there. I doubt he's got very far from there, even if he left. So that's what you were trying to say so hard to communicate? Xie Shishun was strangely enough disappointed and dispirited by my reply. I did have something to tell you, too, but never mind. I feel like the mood's been ruined. Let's talk about this at another time. Dante, my man, you failed the Riz check! I was curious, but it will also take ages for me to ask how she's feeling, so I nod to express my gratitude before heading to the back entrance. And found Hong Lu, gazing at the hazy scene out the opaque window. What are you doing here? People watching. There were some people stumbling through the streets outside. As I stared outside the window at the scene, Hong Lu seemed to sense what I was thinking and began. Are you worried for me, Dante? Well, yeah, it's your turn, Hong Lu. It really is. I'm back at H Corp, and everyone's been talking about the family hero selection. But you don't have to worry about me at all, because I did not wish for anything from Limbus company. Really? I'm not like Yi Song. I'm not hiding my true feelings. No one gave me a wonderful promise like they would help me recover my torn and broken wings. I joined only to have something to experience something new, that's all. But we do know that something's definitely going to happen, whatever it might be. Something that will shake you to your very core. Even if you didn't wish for anything, going through something like that could. Probably, yes, but it's okay. And he's being led by the will of others anyways. No matter what happens here, I can't do this like anyone else. Hong Lu! Within the next few wall purchase nights, you better get a Yan ID. The index. You're getting a fucking index ID. That's on the bingo card. Because that's how it's always been. Whatever happens to me, or those around me, I only... A loud, boisterous bellow suddenly cut Hong off before he even could finish his sentence. Oi, get off me! Just listen to that saw talking and tell me I'm not supposed to get mad at that. Dang it, lower your voice. What are you guys doing back there? Gregor and Heathcliff, who were most likely hiding behind the entrance door, tumbled into view. I knew I shouldn't have come here with this guy. Couldn't you be at least patient for even a few minutes before bursting out of there? How long have you two been listening? From the very start, of course. I thought he was finally making some sense at first. But what's that? You're used to following others' will? I didn't mean to irk you, Heathcliff. I'm only telling the truth. Bloody hell, I'm about to burst a vessel. Oi, buggy bloke, am I supposed to practice patience after listening to that drivel? I think I'm practicing plenty of patience despite you calling me buggy bloke out of nowhere. So yeah, you are. It's not what I... Finally, some silence. Anyways, sorry about listening in, fellas. I'll let you on about some big secret if you let this one slide, though. What's a secret? Gregor rubbed his arm awkwardly as I stared at him in silence, then pointed at the pillar in an exaggerated motion. Guess who's hiding behind that pillar, Manager Bud? That two familiar figures stumbled out into view from behind the pillar. How can you betray us like that? Oh my god, the Sinclair and Ryusho family bond is undeniable. BWAHA! Bad, weak, and highly annoying. Good night, Snooze Fest, she says. Huh? Huh? Did I get that wrong? I never said GANS. Where did you get an FU? Ryoshu looked at Sinclair with some interest before slicing open the ceiling above the entrance. And with an unperceptibly wet noise for something cutting through a wall, a black ink-like substance dripped onto the floor, followed by Rhodia and Aldous crashing down after it. Get the fuck out! Well, I didn't realize I garnered such an audience for my story. Executive Manager, the sole reason I followed you out of there was for the purpose of protection. I was concerned for your safety. What's next? We're going to be in the wall, aren't they? I'm not like the others who have followed you merely to save their curiosities. Me? I was just bored. Huh. Then shall we continue the conversation, Dante? Everyone, back to your rooms now! Oh, and here it is, the main game. Ah!
착수.
After that little kerfuffle, just as everyone was scattering to their rooms, Aldous suddenly began to vehemently oppose, leaving me all on my own. Are you absolutely certain, Executive Manager? Seriously? Don't worry about it. I usually took the night watch on the bus anyways. That is true, however, but we are currently in an uncharted territory for our team. We did not have much experience in sleeping at a place where our safety isn't an absolute guarantee. Hey, we're literally right next door to them. It'll take less than 5 seconds for us to come over when something happens. Do you not know that every second matters in emergencies? Now, Babashika Dikam, let's get you out of here. An oddly familiar sequence of events and words played out, and they eventually left my room, gently closing the door behind them. Finally, some peace and quiet. I sit on the corner of the bed, surrounded by silence, and allow my shoulders to slump for once. I don't need to sleep, like sinners do, but the fatigue doesn't go away on its own. I need some time to relax and empty my thoughts every once in a while. While I've gotten somewhat used to the pain, it still hurts like hell when I rewind the sinner's time. And the longer this journey got, the more frequent and severe the sinner's injuries became. They did get stronger, that's for sure, but so did our enemies, which means that my clock is always turning and turning without a moment to rest. Hey, it's too early for April Fools. So I think of the star. Before the great gates which I face with every revival, I witness its intricate engraving and feels its silent in vibrations. Even after a whole year, I am still no closer to understanding what they're supposed to represent. But by emptying out my thoughts and taking in the sights, I find myself calming down. Also, the wind is quite cool and crisp tonight. Wait, that's weird. Wind? What's this, sun chill? Something opened the window, but there is no way this gentle breeze could have unlatched and left my window wide open like that. And if it did, it would have made a pretty loud noise. Besides, this chill isn't coming from in front of me. I slowly turn around to look at where the window was supposed to be, only to see a melted wall, an intruder sinking through this newfound opening. Who are you? As though driven by some unknown survival instinct, I rolled off the bed, but there was already a blade right at where my neck and head met. It's steel, a shearing cold. Just a little nudge, and I'd be dead even before I could even make a tick. I remembered how worried Aldous was to leave me all alone. I thought she was just being paranoid. I should have trusted her judgment. Just as I was just getting ready for my final struggle, my final moments filled with regret about not listening to Aldous' advice. What a pathetically thin blade. Too delicate to have the clock CIH, don't you think? Radia leapt down from the ceiling and deflected the assailant's dragger away from me. Ryoshu! Snuck in thinking I was about to see something interesting, but you're just some beast with steel. I looked up to see the ceiling torn open, dripping with vicious paint-like fluid, just as I saw earlier during my conversation with Hong Lu. Executive Manager, are you unharmed? And Aldous peeking out from the gap. Aldous was the one who instructed Ryoshu that the ceiling had a room to hide in. Remember that. Shut up and help me! Oh, I thought this one was just some beast with steel. I could have cut this beast in half, sword and all, had it not been under the bus. All of your abilities were diminished the moment you were hired by this company, equally defamed and depowered, if you will. I suddenly recalled Hohenheim's commentary back at the LCE. I had a vague notion of what he meant, but now I was really feeling it. NFW, what is happening? Just as Ryoshu was struggling to stop that one blade, the intruder pulled out another dagger with their other arm and slashed at Ryoshu's neck. A beast of a Hayashu pack. The intruder would have cut her throat had light not burst through my door. Who wields you now? I don't suppose dialogue is an option. Light enters not the vast garden, yet falls a star into its fathom still. No! The intruder reached into his clothes, muttering an odd invocation. Little shit! A talisman! Why? Get it together! My lady! Just as the intruder muttering began to grow intense, Jiashishun leaped into my room and struck the stranger with her fan. Were you going to let that bastard finish that stupid spell? They almost activated the H Corp talisman. Oh, okay. A new one? A new incorporation, I see. Apologies, my lady. It seemed that I remained somewhat bound by its spell. Listen, you are no longer a Hayashu. You serve me now, got it? You don't have to let those things control you anymore. Yes, my lady, my apologies. I fell limply to the bed with the sudden evaluation of stress and pressure. Hey, are you... I can't understand him anyways. I managed to stop the assassin before he laid a hand on them. Fortunately. Got it. I don't think there was anyone else in there. Let's switch the lights on. Click. When the lights came on, we saw this one. This one's from a meow wrench, is it? There was a black bamboo hat bearing assassin on the ground. The walls? The walls that appeared solid before we all went to sleep were now melting away as if they were a vicious fluid. There is something wrong with this building. I knew that they must have done something to the building, but how? Is a Hayushu here? This whole operation's gotta be spearheaded by someone with real power. This isn't just some ambush from an overexcited family garage contestant. What I don't understand is, why the Meow branch? There are better Hayushu branches to use if all they wanted was to cut off the clock's head. Then they must have had a different purpose, huh? Correct. This one's from the Meow branch of the Hyushu packs, which means that more of them must have infiltrated this building. Though not at the scale of the Z branch, the Meow branch always moves in groups. Therefore, their goal must be to kill every guest staying in this prison, including you, my lady. Then, we've got to get moving. We can't let them surround us if we want a chance of surviving this. Sinners burst into my room, slamming the door open again. Without. Thank me later. If we don't move our asses, we're good as dead. Why? Yes. We did not have the time to contact the main forces of our faction at the family mansion. You know what to do when we're at a numerical disadvantage, right? It will be done, my lady. Jiazishun and Wai immediately stormed out of the room as soon as they saw the sinners enter, as though they had been waiting to hear from my protection. Don Quixote and Gregor stood red-faced and on edge. Hirusan was covered in battle wounds, and Altus wore an inscrutable expression. I stand before you in shame to have to borrow the hands of another to protect the executive manager. No. I should have listened to what he said. Extrapolating from the pattern by which the walls have disintegrated, it's likely that they utilized identical means of infiltration for each sinner. Oh, right. Weren't you attacked by bamboo-headed assailants too? The ranks numbered many, answered the squire. And for how many of them were there? They were unsettlingly silent. Fairly, we were almost... not almost. I saw on the way here that some of us did get killed, impaled straight through the guts. So what you said about how fighting indoors was a taboo... Yes, a lie. How? How utterly cowardly and unjust of these vile curs to strike in the shadows. Alas, now's not the time to ruminate on their villainy. Correct. Besides, there's more of them waiting to sink their blades into us. The door.
야, 쟤네 완전 술에 꼬른 놈들처럼 흐느적거리는데?
Ah, they have unbreakable coins. How nice.
겁나 내게 바쳤지.
유감 없는 싸움을 기대하겠소.
The kid leads.
벤던 사월을
이번에는 공격하시기 힘들 것 같아요. 최대한 눈에 안 띄게 해야 할 것 같아요.
겁나 내게 바쳐주지.
그러니까 거기서 이렇게 피했으면 됐잖아.
What do you mean it's... Oh, that's hopeless.
겁나 내게 바쳐주지. 없어겠군.
효과적이네요. 이 방식을 기억하는 게 좋겠어요.
어머, 너무 아프게 맞았는데? 내가 말했던
육체를 베어내고
이것이
확실히 구분하고 오벌수가 상정외의 공격이었으니 이것까지 당신 탓을
You're saying I have
할
to
수
beat 11 of them?
설마 알고 맞게 하진 않았을 테니. 전투 따위를 기대하고 있는 건 아니겠지.
훌륭하고 이외에 특별히 첨언할 이유도 없군.
Dude, we haven't even beat a single one of them.
칼을 빼앗고
엄청난 공격이었어요. 어떻게 저렇게 강하실 수 있죠?
강력한 한발 위에
칼을 베어내고
굉장해요.
격발 일격에 저렇게나? 사냥이 성공적이었네요. 이 흐름대로 사냥을 끝내러 가보죠.
벤담 사월을 건너
흔들리는 일 따위 없이 가라앉는 모든 것을 짊없이 지평선을 따른다.
적확한 한압이었어.
격발
저까지 아프네요.
얼마나 비었겠나. 칼을 베어내고
예사롭지가 않은데? 아주 적자를 내놨어.
원더풀 선택이었어 나리! 저들의 약점이 뻔히 보이는 게로군.
벤담 사월을 건너 육자 칼을 베어내고
일발장전.
이게 어떻게 되신 일인가, 무관 선생. 온몸이 점여져서 땅바닥에 사월을 지고 말이야. 존경하는 관리자님 고생은 본인이 다 시키는군.
아직까지도 저의 총구에는 까닭 모를 망설임이 남아있었나 봅니다.
That works.
차원 파동 장갑 충전 완료.
저들에게서는 묘혈의 향이 나오.
충전 기능 점검. 단숨에 잡는다. 공간을 뭉갠다.
효과적이네요. 이 방식을 기억하는 게 좋겠어요.
으이, 그러니까 거기서 이렇게 피했으면 됐잖아. 내 앞을 막을 자는 없어. 으이, 그러니까 거기서 이렇게 피했으면 됐잖아.
명령대로. 저건 진짜 아프겠는데. 야, 괜찮냐?
관리자님! 정리는 실패했고 장비의 충전량은 바닥. 돌아갈 방법이 없군. 탄피가 떨어질 때군요.
저것들 좀 보세요. 고약한 먹물이라도 뒤집어 쓴 것 같은 얼굴이네요. 잘 먹혔나 봐요.
완벽한 판단이네.
강한 충격이었어. 나의 벗들은 괜찮은가?
그저 하염없이 모든 피를 그래 그렇게 화물이 피어나고 피어나라.
방금 파도가 너무 거칠었던 탓에 치명상을 입은 동료가 생긴 것 같아요. 확인해 보시는 게 좋겠는데.
이대로 가보자고.
이 공격은 꽤 먹혀들 것 같아요.
간당 목숨줄만 붙어있군. 곧 끝장날 수 있을 것
조식
같은데
1번.
수감자들로 효율적인 마무리를 명령하시겠지요, 딴테.
여행엔 목적이 있었지. 똑바로 서라. 나무 인형만도 못한 거.
잠시 무릎 꿇는 것을 두려워하지 마시게. 침 바르면 낫는다네.
이대로 가보자고.
저 쉽게 완벽한 한방 시원한 걸.
적확한 하나였어.
어머, 너무 아프게 맞았는데?
움직이지 않는
또다시 돌아오겠구려.
물이었나?
그 잠시나마 휴식하시오.
완벽한 한방이네.
때까지 몇 번이고!
인발장전.
이번에는 공격하시기 힘들 것 같아요. 최대한 눈에 안 띄게 해야 할 것 같아요.
이대로 가보자고.
생각보다 너무 거센데요?
해잔병같이 무릎을 꿇고 있을 때인가 십상반수 감자. 평소처럼 멱살 좋게 같이 상황을 계산해 보시지. 상정 외의 공격이었으니 이것까지 당신 탓을 할 순 없겠군요. 설마 알고 맞게 하진 않았을 테니.
심히 지옥스럽군.
한피가 떨어질 때군요.
How will I ever be able to win something like this?
의심, 암귀, 불안과 공포, 그런 것들이 들끓을 때가 가장 취약하죠. 알아듣겠습니까? 지금이 적기라는 것입니다.
대가리 딱 대고. 하! 으타! 먹어치워라!
이만하면 순항이죠. 바람도 딱 좋네.
검나를 우리에게 바쳐주지.
어떤 사람들은 상처를 통해 성장한다고 하오. 나의 벗들도 그러리라 믿소.
대가리 딱 대고.
그놈이 날 얼마나 비웠겠나.
해잔병같이 무릎을 꿇고 있을 때인가 십상반수 감자. 평소처럼 멱살 좋게
너무 아프게 맞았는데?
상황을 개선해 보시지.
이것이
친구들을 볼때
으타! 먹어치워라!
첩첩산중이로군. 뿔뿔이 흩어지는 것보다는 돌아가 새로운 길을 모색하는 것이 낫지 않겠는가, 관리자.
완벽한 한 방이네. 계획은 이것으로 끝이 아닐 테지.
안개가 걷히고 꿈속에서만 그리워하던 그 사람을 볼 수 있는 건가?
곧 감미로운 트럼펫 경보와 비명 소리가 들릴 거다. 잘나신 관.
애도의 시간이군. 의심, 암귀, 불안과 공포, 그런 것들이 들끓을 때가 가장 취약하죠. 알아듣겠으면 내게 바쳐주지. 지금이 적기라는 말.
생각보다 너무 거센데요?
이번 하나도 치명적이었어. 두 번의 기회는 없을 것이오, 관리자.
배가 딱 떼고
일발 장전. 아직까지도 저의 총구엔 까닭 모를 망설임이 남아있었나 봅니다.
애도의 시간이군.
야, 쟤네 완전 술에 꼬른 놈들처럼 흐느적거리는데?
된다면 사활을 건다.
먹어 치워라. 자, 동료들이여, 자세를 갖추고 저들을 맞이하세. 우리를 가로막는 저 시련을 해치우고 끝나지 않는 모험을 향하여. 뚫려라.
여기
적화 큰 근합이었어.
수인가.
이런 동료들 상태에 신경 좀 쓰셔야 할 것 같은데요, 관리자님. 대가리 딱 떼도
그냥 여기서 쓰러진다면 얼마나 비었겠.
생각보다 너무 거센데요?
안개가 거치고 해잔병같이 무릎을 꿇고 있을 때입니다. 13번 수감자. 평소처럼 넉살 좋게 같이 상황을 개선해 보시지.